Last week, Doom posters were saying Columbina is going to be restrictive and would only work with Nodcry characters. Now we know what she does, it turns out they were wrong, as usual. Let's have a look at what she does, how to build her, and who to play her with. TLDR, she can enable lunar reactions as the only Nodcry character in the team. If you skipped everyone in Nodcry up to now, you can still play her. She deals AoE hydro damage with a skill and creates a domain with a burst that buffs lunar reactions and gives them bonus effects which we'll go over. With Doran and Venti on banner this week and then Columbina around the corner afterwards, you might be struggling for Primo gems, but not to worry, LD Shop have you covered. They do top-ups for Genshin Impact, Star Rail and more, and it's up to 35% cheaper than in-game. Personally, I think the in-game prices are too expensive to justify buy-in, but the LD Shop prices are genuinely worth it, especially with the bonuses for new users. You don't need your login details, just your UID and server, and everything will go right through. It's all completely safe, and I can vouch for that because I use them myself. At the moment, if you register using my link, you get a 15% off coupon and a 5% off coupon which can save you up to $30. If you've not used your in-game top-up bonus yet, don't worry, that can be activated with LD Shop too. If you invite a friend to register, you'll both get a 15% off coupon after the first order. As if all this isn't enough, if you spend $80 in 1 month, you get a free welkin to claim on the homepage. Check the link in the description for the discount coupons. So going into a bit more detail on the kit, you press a skill and she summons a hydro circle that follows you, dealing AoE hydro damage while also giving you 20 gravity every 2 seconds when you trigger a lunar reaction or deal lunar damage. Max gravity is 60 and when it maxes out, it deals lunar damage for whichever lunar reaction you triggered the most. For Lunar Charge, she deals AoE electro damage, considered Lunar Charge damage. For Lunar Bloom, she fires 5 Dendro attacks at the enemy, considered Lunar Bloom damage. For Lunar Crystallize, she deals AoE Geo damage, considered, you guessed it, Lunar Crystallize damage. She can also do charge attacks to consume Verdant Dew stacks, dealing 3 instances of AoE Dendro damage, considered Lunar Bloom damage. Not gonna lie, I didn't expect them to copy and paste Nefer's main mechanic into a kit, but I skipped her, so I'm not complaining. Her burst deals AoE hydro damage and summons a domain that increases the team's lunar reaction damage. It also gives lunar reactions special effects. The Lunar Charged Thundercloud triggers every 1.5 seconds instead of every 2 seconds, so more instances of damage. It also gives up to 3 Verdant Dew stacks for Lunar Bloom teams. For Lunar Crystallize, which we'll go over in a minute because that's a new one, it gives Lunar Wards a 33% chance to strike again. To reiterate, she can be your only lunar reaction character because she converts Electro-Charged, Bloom and Crystallize into the lunar versions. She buffs the team's lunar reaction damage, scaling off her HP too. 35k HP gives a maximum of 7%. There's a passive that gives a 5% crit rate as well when gravity caps out, which can stack up to 3 times. She's also got an interesting passive. When a party member falls in Nodcry, she revives them and heals them, scaling off the friendship level. It says in Nodcry, so don't expect that to work in endgame modes. Healing people with the power of friendship, she's just like me. Okay, so to summarize everything, Burst summons a domain to buff lunar reactions and lunar reaction damage, use skill to deal continuous AoE hydro damage, trigger lunar reactions to max out gravity, gravity deals lunar reaction damage for whichever lunar reaction you did the most. Just a quick reminder of what the lunar reactions do. Lunar Charge summons a cloud to deal electro damage every 2 seconds to enemies affected by both hydro and electro. Lunar Bloom is just like normal Bloom in that it creates a Bloom Seed, but also gives the party Verdant Dew, which are the moon-shaped stacks. Verdant Dew themselves don't do anything, but they can be consumed by certain characters to trigger unique things within their kits. Nefer and Columbina, for example, consume them to do their special charged attack. Lunar Crystallize is being added in Lunar 4 too, with some new characters we'll look at later in the video. Basically, apply Hydro and Geo, and 3 wards will be generated near the enemy that deal Geo damage. It's similar to Bloom, but Geo. For stats, you want to give her a HP or energy recharge sans. She wants 35k HP for a passive, so aim for that, but if you're using a weapon that gives you HP, energy recharge sans could be the way to go. For the rest, go HP Goblet and Crit Circlet. It's worth locking in HP Circlets though, just in case they change anything with a passive. For artifacts, she'll have a new set when she drops. The 2-piece gives 80 Elemental Mastery. The 4-piece gives up to 60% lunar reaction damage if your moon sign level is Ascendant Gleam and the holder is off field. So if you're using it off-field, give her this new set. For day 1, you can give her Serenade. If you want her on-field, give her Night of the Skies Unveiling. In terms of weapons, her signature is best with 88 crit damage and 10% HP. When she triggers a lunar reaction or deals lunar reaction damage, she restores 12 energy, which can occur once every 18 seconds. Max HP is increased by 14%, and she gets 60% crit damage for lunar reaction damage. Other 5 stars you could use are Nefer's weapon if you're using it on field. Nouvelette's weapon gives her 88 crit damage, 16% HP, and if you're running her with Farina, which you probably won't, but just in case, it regenerates 8 energy every 12 seconds. Mualani's weapon gives her 88 crit damage and 20% HP. If you have Lauma's weapon but no Lauma, you could use that on her in Lunar Bloom teams. For non-5 stars, Prototype Amber means you don't need a healer. Thrilling Tales is good for teams with an attack scaler like Flynn's. Sacrificial Jade gives her crit rates, HP and elemental mastery. The Nodcry craftable is good for her on-field in Lunar Bloom teams. For Stygian, it's probably going to be Fav. Columbina said she's done being a recluse now, so let's look at who she can play with. We'll start with teams using other Nodcry 5 stars, then teams that don't. She can replace your Hydro character in Flynn's teams. The new set will be Nefer's best, but someone will want to hold Serenade. We don't have Columbina's multipliers as of right now, so just lock in any good HP pieces too, just in case. If you have Flynn's but no Nefer, you could use Yehoda and then drop in another Hydro like Yelana or Farina. If you have a Nefer but no Flynn's, you could go with Nouvelette and a flex like Kazuha, Sucrose or Shalonen. Animo drivers like Aoife, Hazo or Sucrose could work. I'm looking forward to trying Arlecchino teams though for the Columbina Harbinger connection. Arlecchino, Ino and Nefer Bennett already works, so you just swap Ino out. Chaska will be fun too. You could throw in another Hydro or Electro for more lunar charge damage, or just use a Scoffia for a little bit of freeze and another Chaska bullet. Nefer needed another teammate in my opinion because her options are quite restricted. You can now go with Columbina, Lauma and a non-Nodcry units for the Ascendant Gleam bonus. Cookie is probably the easiest option. Nahida with Prototype Amber for more damage, less sustain. If you don't have Lauma, you could throw in Nahida as your non-Nodcry unit, which allows you to put a Nefer in. Yehoda could be your sustain if you have a C6. People like Lauma with Nouvelette and Nefer and Farina, so you can just drop Farina for Columbina. With Lauma Bloom teams, you don't usually want another Nodcry unit because a passive only gives crits to Bloom at Nascent Gleam level rather than Ascendant Gleam which gives crits to Lunar Bloom. You could instead play Columbina on field, then use Nahida and C6 Yehoda if you have her. If not, maybe Baiju and Farina. Nefer might work instead of Baiju, but we don't know if that'll interfere with the gravity mechanic and start triggering Lunar Charged and reduce our Verdant Dew. Let's talk about Zebai. She's a Lunar Crystallized DPS that converts her normals to Geo, spams normals to build up points which she can then spend to deal big skill damage 4 times. Kinda like a Geo Kaniche. Iluga, the Lantern Rights 4-star, buffs Zebai's Lunar Crystallized damage as well as giving a little bit of crit rate and crit damage, and its C4 gives some defense which Zebai's damage scales off. If you have no other Nodcry 5 stars, you might not be able to hit Columbina's ceiling, but you can still use her. You could use her off field with an Animo driver and a Taser team, just make sure Ino's in there for Ascendant Gleam. You could use Yehoda for Ascendant Gleam and go for a Razor Hexarai team. You can use Columbina on field in a Lunar Bloom team with Nahida, Farina and Yehoda. Ino and Baiju will work too. For Lunar Crystallize, Iluga ticks the Ascendant Gleam box and you can go with Navia and Sing Cho. Ito and Goro works too. Noelle and Farina. I'm not sure if it'll be any good, but you could try Columbina as the on-fielder to take advantage of Iluga's buffs, then go with Albedo and Mona off-field for the Hexarai connection. Maybe give Mona Prototype Amber for sustain. I imagine these teams with no other Nodcry 5 stars will perform similar to Nefer teams pre-Nodcry. Overall, Columbina is looking like another flexible unit. Harbingers are my favourite characters in Genshin, so I'm happy about that and I'm sure you are as well. I'm going to be dropping another video either today or tomorrow looking at Zebai, and then some videos for Doran, Albedo, Venti and more when Lunar 3 drops. Subscribe if you want to see those. Also join the Discord if you want to show off your pulls, and take it easy.